With all the hype and hysteria around silver and gold at the moment, there are a lot of people out there who think that they can beat the system with silver or gold. Perhaps you can take that money out of that fiat system and have it better protected. Yes, completely agree. But also there are a lot of people who think they can beat perhaps taxation. Perhaps they can just go under the radar. Well, it's the 21st century, and with the development of AI tools that will scan and scour every single element of your life, social media, and even YouTube videos that you make here, I can tell you with first-hand experience that if you're audited by the IRS or HMRC, it ain't gonna be fun. It's gonna suck. And if you've said on your platform that you've lost all your gold and silver in an unfortunate boating accident and you're just avoiding that tax, I can tell you right now, you're gonna be in some serious trouble. I got audited by HMRC and they're gonna be coming for you very soon. I have no doubt. Hello everybody, Backyard Bullion here, and a very warm welcome to you all joining me for another Precious Metal Ramble where we have down-to-earth discussions about all things precious and shiny. Now, one thing that all silver and gold buyers will agree on, that taking your money out of the fiat system, out of that monetary system that seems to be in so much trouble right now, is a good thing. And then you go one step further, and a lot of people think that by taking that money out of the system, they can somewhat beat the system. They can be their own bank. They can perhaps even lose all their gold and silver in an unfortunate boating accident and never have to worry about paying taxes on it. Well, there are changes afoot, certainly in the UK, and I know around the world as well for various different tax authorities, whereby there is no hiding. And that is scary as hell. And I can tell you from first-hand experience, speaking with somebody from HMRC, because I've had a tax audit and I've sat down with a member of staff from HMRC to go through my own affairs, and the amount of stuff that he told me that was super scary about how they find people, how they know exactly what you've been buying, and everything else. It really is hilarious that people think today in this 21st century, with AI scouring every single part of your life, you can hide, because you can't. So this video will be a little bit of a, I suppose, cautionary tale, commentary on the state of affairs of the 1984 society that we live in. I don't agree with it, but it is a society that we live in nevertheless. And hopefully you'll be able to glean some own understandings about your own circumstances and maybe some of the not so clever rhetoric that's out there from a lot of people going how they lost all their gold and silver in an unfortunate boating accident. And HMRC will never know, because they will. They really will. Now, before we crack on with that, just a quick reminder to hit the thumbs up button if you're liking our commentary on the world of precious metals. And don't forget to subscribe if you're not subscribed. We're fast moving through those milestones, and I'd love to get to 100,000 subs and get that YouTube play button. So join me on that journey and subscribe today. So, they know, of course they know, it's 21st century. And there are more and more tools being used by HMRC to find information than ever before. We've seen, in the UK anyway, a massive uplift in the amount of agents at HMRC to conduct investigations. The new Labour government threw buckets of money at HMRC to find all of those people who are perhaps not paying as much tax or the correct taxes that they should be. And it's taking effect. Now, one thing that I fundamentally disagree with is paying more tax than you really should legally be having to pay tax on. And for example, capital gains tax exempt coinage like Britannia's and the like are a really good vehicle by which you can legally not have to pay gains taxes because they're exempt. It's easy and confirmed in the visit with HMRC to my own home, and they came and they said, hello, we'd like to talk. Well, they gave me plenty of notice first. I'll talk more about my experience at another time, but it was really interesting to talk with this person about these kind of things, the separation of, for example, business and private assets and purchases, because of course I sell silver in terms of my own poured silver, my business, but I also invest in silver products. So having that clear delineation within your personal and business finances is absolutely critical. But the tools that they have by which to find out all of this information are just massive. And the fact that you think you can maybe look to avoid them is hilarious. And even more so if you're on social media, if you're on various different platforms, whether it be YouTube, making content on YouTube, or whether you're just commenting on YouTube videos, AIs will scour your content, they'll scour your social media accounts. They'll find your comments going, yeah, I bought those last month for £56 an ounce, and or X, Y, and Z. I sold those for a profit. They'll know, they will know, and it will happen. And we're not even just talking about, that's just AI. They also have all the data coming from banks. They have all the data coming from platforms like eBay and Amazon, all these others. It is crazy, it is mad. And we're going to talk a little bit more about that in a bit more depth and how really serious you should be taking this after a quick word from today's video sponsor. With gold hitting north of $4,000 an ounce, a record price that is accompanied by record silver prices of over $50 an ounce, the gold mining sector has been appreciating in 2025. Today's sponsor is a New York Stock Exchange American listed company, and what you're about to see is special because GoldMining Inc, whose ticker symbol is GLDG, is a gold exploration company with over 10 different projects in the Americas, but it also owns large positions of publicly listed gold companies, giving exposure to additional catalysts and leverage to the gold prices at the same time. GoldMining Inc.'s market cap is roughly $295 million as of October 2025, yet its portfolio of equity holdings, including cash position, are worth around $214 million US alone, based on those October 21st closing prices. And that's before giving any value whatsoever to its portfolio of exploration stage gold-focused projects across the Americas, and any additional potential value and opportunity from its uranium project, located in one of the highest grade districts, the Athabasca Basin in Canada. On top of all of that, the company has no debt. GoldMining owns one of the largest gold and copper resource stage mineral portfolios in the Americas. We're talking over 10 projects located in pro-mining jurisdictions in Canada, USA, Brazil, Colombia and Peru, with an estimated 12.4 million ounces of estimated gold equivalent in the measured and indicated category, and an additional 9.1 million ounces of estimated gold equivalent in the inferred category. The highlight is the São Jorge project in Brazil. The company commenced its largest ever exploration program in May 2025. This is a project with approximately 1 gram per ton open pit resource with regional growth potential on a 46,000 hectare land package. Targeting resource growth is important given the industry-wide challenge of reserve replacement as major producers deplete their reserves rapidly. So if you're looking for exposure to gold, GoldMining Inc, GLDG, provides a unique combination of exploration and development projects across the Americas, significant equity positions in other gold companies, and solid backing from institutional and insider shareholders. As always, please make sure you review GoldMining Inc.'s public filings for important information regarding it and its projects, including its most recent annual information form and technical reports referenced in them. Thank you once again to GoldMining Inc. for sponsoring today's video, and back on we go with our precious metal ramble. Now, I'm not underestimating just how serious I do think this is for a lot of people, because there are too many people out there that just are flagrantly ignoring the requirements by which they have to pay taxes. Now, this could be in various different forms. This could be from a trading perspective. If you're trading, if you're buying and selling, you might not think you're trading, but HMRC will bloody well assume that you're trading. If you're buying and selling on eBay just as a bit of a hobby, you've got requirements. If you make more than £1,000 in sales, you've got to report that to HMRC and pay taxes on it. Now, look, if you're just selling some of your old junk, you just say to HMRC, and look, they're normal people, they're pragmatic people, they're not going to throw the book at everyone and make you find every old shoe that you bought and prove that it was your shoe and you didn't buy it for trading purposes and everything. They are sensible people, but at the end of the day, they're coming for everyone, because whilst the vast majority of taxation avoidance happens from those big multi-million pound companies, the Amazons and the tech companies and people in various different jurisdictions not paying their taxes here in the UK, there is an awful lot of tax not being recouped from just ordinary people. And HMRC will find it a lot easier to come after you, ordinary people, than they will the big companies with their thousands of lawyers and taxation specialists and people who will just, advise them on the best way to pay as little tax as possible. So it will happen. It's not a matter of when, it's a matter of, it's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when now. That's what the guy told me. So I will go in more detail about my entire experience of the audit that I had in another video, because it deserves its entire video all on its own. But what I will say is that that individual, a senior investigations officer within HMRC, was very candid about the fact that people think that they can hide. They cannot hide. They really cannot hide at all. And the level of scrutiny that is on us as the general population is super scary right now. Now, what I would say is, if you're worried about this kind of thing, then if you've been doing something you shouldn't be doing, then you perhaps shouldn't be doing it anymore. And hundreds of thousands of people around the world every day will just go, and it'll be okay. I'll never get caught, it'll never catch up to me. But the problem is HMRC will have that data now. They will have that data one way or the other. And it really is important when it comes to sensible and responsible investing in precious metals. So what I will say is that having a business and me doing my own tax affairs is really, really good for me to understand it. But I'm not a tax advisor, I'm not a tax specialist. But what I will say is that if you have clear delineation between your private and your business stuff, if you've got those things, or if you're just in it for an investment purpose, then making sure that you have a really, really good system of record keeping, it will help you no end. And everything will be fine. If you're not doing anything wrong, if you're not illegally avoiding tax, then you're fine. If you are doing things that you think are a little bit shady, a bit questionable into what the rules will be, and you do get caught up with, then that's your own prerogative. But people will fly close to the lines of legality when it comes to these things. But the problem that I will say, and from a personal experience of having that brown letter land on your doorstep and having that burden when I knew I'd not done anything wrong. I'm not avoiding anything. I'm paying all my taxes. If anything, I'm paying more taxes than I probably should be. There are certain allowances that I don't necessarily take full advantage of from capital gains perspective. Like every year, I don't necessarily max out my capital gains allowance, for example, but I could. But I didn't because it was just not the right time to sell some of the precious metals and things like that. So, there are plenty of examples where if you're not doing anything wrong and the stress of that comes on you and you have to defend yourself, it's really, really hard and it's not good. But unfortunately, it's going to come and people need to get their records in order. They need to have the sensible approach to record keeping. So if you are considering just continuing to ignore the rules and not reporting your gains and not reporting your income, if you're doing a little bit of side hustle trading, or if you're a VAT registered business and you're playing coy with cash and things like that, it's so important not to do, because oh my goodness, so many people will get caught up in it, and so many people will get really, really stung if they've done something wrong, because you can get big old penalties if you have done something wrong. And I do think it's quite funny that there are a lot of people, and I said this to the guy, and again, more details to come in a future video, but I said this to the guy, I sat down with him and I was like, telling him about my job and obviously my social media profiles and what we do on YouTube and how we talk about precious metal content and things like that. And I said one of the most hilarious thing is there are so many people out there in this world that will use the phrase that they lost all of their gold and silver in an unfortunate boating accident. And he gave me a wry smile and he went, "What do they mean by that?" And I said, well, when they come to sell it or inherit it or whatever, they'll be like, it's never existed, it's not there, how would they know? And he looked at me and was like, we know. I thought that was hilarious. It's so funny that people think they can get away with it. And from my perspective, as an individual gone through that process, it's stressful, it's annoying, it's time consuming. If you've done everything right, you still have to get all of your stuff in order. From my perspective, it was a visit to home. That was the really easy thing because they could just come and look at everything. And I was actually really worried about that because it's like, oh my God, if they got something that they really, they want to come and visit me and see the premises and like everything. And no, it was actually a lot easier to do it in person. They told me exactly why, because if you do it remotely, then over a video call, you have to they can't see the physical records. If you've got physical stuff, it's really difficult. And to be honest, they just came, they were here for a few hours. They went through everything, easy peasy. Job done, passed with flying colours, and it was a nice relief to have that. Of course it is, when that intrusion, the intrusion, let's go on that part to finish up the video. So I don't agree with the intrusion levels of this stuff. I think as individuals, we should all be accountable to ourselves ultimately, but at the end of the day, tax is tax. Tax is something that will always have to happen, and being checked to make sure the tax that you're paying is correct is an important step for any individual. I've been a sole trader, I've been an individual looking after my own tax affairs. In fact, I've been doing my own self-assessment tax forms for near on 15 years. In fact, no longer, it was 2008, I think I started. So I've been doing my own tax affairs for nearly 18 years. And it's crazy how it was always like in the back of my mind, oh, one day that might get an audit. And then it never really happened. And then you get to 10 years and you're like, this is probably never going to happen. And then suddenly one day you get this brown envelope on the doorstep and you're like, oh my God. And ultimately though, if you've got nothing to worry about, it can be a stressful process, but you get through it. Anyway, if you want to find out more about my whole experience of that whole audit, and I'll tell you more about the visit, the individual nature of it, then subscribe to the channel because that's coming in a few weeks. I just want to work out what and how I'm going to tell the story that it doesn't compromise my own privacy and my own safety and anonymity in that respect. But it was real, it was scary, it was really enlightening, it was very actually quite cathartic to go through that process and to be told that things are all good. So that was really, really good. And it's a very interesting process that I think a lot of people want to hear about. So the message though from this video is that you can't use gold and silver to hide from the man. You can't use it to avoid taxation. You can use it to avoid legal taxation in a legal way with capital gains exempt products, for sure. But for people taking the piss, for people just, you know, losing their gold and silver in an unfortunate boating accident, not declaring gains, they know. They will know, 100% they'll know. And ever more now with overreach, I think, from banks, that's one thing I don't like. Like the fact that they have this data now anyway, and there are going to be people like myself and plenty of others, tens of thousands of people. In fact, I would say probably like 95% of people are just absolutely above board with their affairs. And it's just a small proportion of rotten eggs. But the problem that HMRC faces is that they don't know that you're a rotten egg until they ask those questions. So they'll get all of this data, and then they'll just, from like my perspective, it wasn't like an in-depth review of every single element, every single bank's transfer that's gone in and out of my bank or anything. But they did just come and they asked questions about my business, my personal affairs, my private tax situations, the various different sources of income that I've got and everything. And it's very intrusive. But I get why they have to do that, because there are other people out there that are avoiding this taxation deliberately. And so they have to make sure that they're recouping the correct amount of tax that everybody should be paying. Do I like tax? Do I like paying my tax bill every year? No, of course I don't like handing tens of thousands of pounds over to HMRC every year for what I view as really inefficiently spent taxpayers' pounds. But at the end of the day, tax is a good thing. It means that I'm earning money. It means that I'm contributing to society, hopefully anyway, if that money's used in a half-decent, semi-good way. So yeah, really interesting to see where the land lies with this and where I think a lot of people will fall unstuck in the future. So anyway, that is it from me. Cool kids, what do we have for you today to talk about? I think we're going to do something with this. We're going to say Queen's Beasts Completer. That is your Cool Kids Club comment. And next Friday, we'll be doing a little super secret squirrel giveaway. If you have commented on one of our videos from October with a Cool Kid Club comment, I will choose a random video and a random qualifying comment, and you might win a Britannia. So if you want to win one of those, get in the club, put that comment, the Queen's Beasts Completer, in this video, and I'll know that you're cool for watching to the end. Thank you all for watching. We'll see you on the next video. Don't forget, on the way out, hit the thumbs up and subscribe. If you're not subscribed already, what are you doing if you're watching to the 16th minute of my video if you're not already subscribed? That's it from me. See you next time. As always, please make sure you like, share, comment, and subscribe for more.